What's up, Team Riders family? Jawan Buford here, broadcasting from Detroit metropolitan area. And what I want to talk about today is actually a response to a question that was posed during our next level training and accountability call last night, Monday, on the heels of our return from NOLA, which was incredibly invigorating, and so glad that a contingent of us were able to go there and get the information, be blessed with the gems that were shared from the stage, and come back to the marketplace with momentum. And of course, one of the things that a lot of individuals are going to be focused on is taking aim at small businesses, in particular a strategy that we oftentimes refer to as walking the community. Now, look, this is not meant to be a training video to be distributed organization-wide in terms of something that is like more formally put together, but I did want to keep my promise, provide kind of like a brief talk about what the process of walking the community actually looks like, right? Also, I'm going to include in the notes of this video an article that I wrote on Substack a while back ago about walking your community. And so that's also going to be embedded in the notes here to offer a little bit of perspective. So let's get to you real quick. So a couple things, right? When you're walking your community, before we get into the actual language and verbiage, I just want to make sure that you understand that when you are knocking on the doors of business owners, you want to knock on those doors with the understanding that those business owners are busy, that you are, in many respects, going to be viewed as an inconvenience to them, right? Because you didn't schedule an appointment, you knocked on the door and you walked in. So I want to encourage you to understand your purpose for walking through the door is not to sell the business owner. The primary goal is develop enough rapport and intrigue and create enough intrigue or interest that the business owner is going to be inclined to talk to you and give you permission to share what it is that you do at another time that's going to be convenient for all parties involved, right? In a way that works for all parties involved. So I want you to understand that, because what I don't want for those of you who have never walked your community and never exercised the strategy before to end up knocking on doors and then alienating the business owners in your community, right? Your number one goal is to walk in there and once again develop rapport, right? You want that business owner to have a warm, fuzzy feeling about who you are, what you represent, and be open to having a conversation where they're willing to focus on the services and the value prop that we provide. Okay, so I wanted to share that first and foremost. Another tip that I'll give you just really briefly, when you walk in through these doors, you shouldn't have 2 and 3 briefcases and look like you have like 50 million brochures and marketing collateral to slap all over the place and force them to look at. Business owners don't like that, okay? And to be transparent with you, it doesn't work anyway. I cannot tell you how many times I've met business owners over the years. I've walked in, seen some PPLSI or Legal Shield marketing artifacts, even business cards left in a business owner's office or in their building or space, and they have no idea who the person is. I'm telling you, that does not work. Okay, so I want to make sure that I make that clear as well. So those of you wanted to hear some scripting, like what's my approach? What do I share when I walk into a business owner's space, fresh off the street, right? When I'm doing drive-bys or, once again, just walking around and introducing myself to people. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk into that space of business, and it doesn't matter whether the person's at the reception desk, doesn't matter if they come to greet me, shake my hand, shape, size, whatever the case may be. I'm going to treat that person with the utmost respect. I'm going to say, hey, my name's Jawan. Well, let me just say how I would naturally. I'll walk in and say, hey, my name's Jawan. How's your day going? If they say, my day's going good, my day's going well, how can I help you? How are you doing? Which is what they say. Say, look, another beautiful day in your neighborhood, right? And I'm going to say, look, are you the business owner? Or I'm going to ask, is the business owner available? And if it is a business owner, particularly if you're dropping on small businesses, 9 times out of 10, it probably is going to be the business owner there, or you're going to get quickly introduced to the person. I'm going to, once again, introduce myself, right? If the business owner seems to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Friendly, not too standoffish. I may even extend my hand as a handshake, right? Shake their hand, look them in the eyeballs, and say, look, my name's Juwan. I'm a representative with PPLSI and Legal Shield. I know you may or may not be familiar with us, and that's okay, but we are a 70-plus-year-old company that's been highly effective at helping business owners protect their financial, legal, and business interests. And, I'm not here for sales. I'm not stopping by to sell you anything. I just want to apologize to you because I'm your neighborhood representative, or I'm your representative for this region, and we haven't had the opportunity to be introduced. And so I'm here to do that today to make sure that you're aware that we are here to be of service, right? And then I may hand them a business card, or I may hand them, there's these handouts that I'm looking for right now, right? That you can use that kind of has a quick blurb or some information about our company. Is really short, to the point, right? I'm not leaving some super long, huge brochure. Once again, I'm not trying to inundate this business owner with a bunch of contacts. I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do with it. I know what they're gonna do with it because I remember people used to do it to me, and I would take it and throw it in the trash or become coasters for my kids. But you give me something small, simple, business card, something like this, quick overview of the services and what you're about, that's fine. I may hold on to that. It's gonna sit on my desk. I may not look at it, might look at it, just depends on the situation, right? But you don't want to inundate them with a bunch of stuff, right? And so I said, look, I'm not here to sell anything. Just want to make sure that you're aware that we're here to be of service to you. And at some point, I love the opportunity, perhaps purchase coffee, bring you by Subway, Jimmy John's, have a quick 15 minutes, explore what's most important to you, right? And that's what I normally share. 9 times out of 10, the business owner's gonna ask you, well, tell me more, what's this all about, right? And now you have to resist the urge to go into full sales presentation mode. You must resist the urge to do that. Because the bottom line is, if you're not in a position to give them 100% of the information, at least not enough to really make an educated decision, you don't want to give them any information. What you want to do is schedule a follow-up. So 9 times out of 10, what I'll say is, look, okay, what we do is we take business owners like you. And you could be a Fortune 500 company. Many of them are clients of ours, Lululemon, my brain just quit, Dun & Bradstreet, Amoco, right? Utah Jazz, right? Some of the companies that you'll hear me talk about in the presentation, or I'll mention Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, or I may mention Beaumont Hospital, right? Local companies. But to us, it doesn't matter what size you are. You could be earning $20,000 a year, you could be earning $20,000 an hour. We basically take you and we wrap you around a network of over 7,000 attorneys and business consulting services. And I'll press pause and say, how does that sound? And 9 times out of 10, they're nodding their head or say, that's interesting. How does that work? And I would say, well, look, because of that network, you'll be able to pick up the phone. And you have any questions as it relates to your business, or you need a document review. Heaven forbid, you can't be Grand Theft Auto, right? You can't be out here getting caught up. But we'll be able to, available to you to help you with issues like that, right? Because is it fair to say, to you as a business owner, you're probably wearing all the hats? If it's a small business owner, yes, the answer is yes. You probably feel like you're the CEO, CFO, CMO, CIO, CTO, CSO. You probably feel like you leave something on the table every single day that is not done because you're trying to be the phone call, HR, tax, accounting, legal, branding, et cetera, right? And most of the times, business owners are going to say, yeah, because that is what's going on, right? 2 of the business owners, 3 of the business owners I've spoken with today, it was all the same situation. That's how they feel, right? They feel overwhelmed because of that stuff. What we do is we provide you with a network of over 7,000 available to you, help you navigate all those waters and more. Look, let me ask you a question. If I were to follow up with you over the next couple business days, share some information with you so you can really make an educated decision and learn more about what we do. More importantly, I can learn more about what's most important to you. Will morning or afternoon work best? What am I doing? I'm angling for the appointment. I'm angling for the time to catch up with them where I can share 100% of the information, right? So they can make an educated decision. I don't want them to make an uneducated no. If they're gonna say no, I want them to be educated and then say no or yes, right? If they're on some non-committal, so once again, you're stopping in, you're infringing upon their time. So they're non-committal about when they could physically be available. I may ask, hey, how does a phone call sound? Morning or afternoon, right? If they're open and they're not resisting scheduling the time, I may say, hey, I can bring by some coffee, Subway or Jimmy John's. What's your flavor? What's your favorite, right? A little $5, $6 sandwich. Stop by, right? Some individuals may say, well, can you leave me some information? I'd say, be glad to. And what am I going to do? I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to use Rapid Funnel, or I'm going to send them some of the content that we have available on our Team New Horizons site. And I'm going to use one of those videos. And I'm going to say, where would you prefer me to text this to? Now, why am I doing that? Because I want that person's phone number, right? I want this person's phone number. And I say, look, I'm going to text you some information here. By the way, do you have a card with your email? And I can email it to you as well. What am I doing once again? I'm collecting what? Their phone number and their email so I can follow up, right? Now, I also have an app on my phone that I use when people ask to learn more about what we do. You've seen me do this. I pull out my phone, I tap that app, it pulls up the QR code, right, to my websites, and so people can learn who I am and the work that I do. Then in order for them to get that information, what do they have to do? They actually have to scan the code, which prompts them to provide what? Their name, their phone number, and email address. Once again, I want the ability to follow back up with them, whether it's a phone call or via an email, right? Because you try to get this information after the fact and they're busy and they can't recall who you are because a million people are doing the same thing you're doing, you're gonna have a tough time. So I want to get the information then, and I want to schedule that follow-up time, right? And then even if they scan my information, even if we make an agreement that I'll forward the information to them, what's the question I'm going to ask? Well, look, if I were to share this with you, how soon do you think you'll get around to taking a look at it? You're not going to put me in a land of maybe. You're not going to have me calling up 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now. You're on some, well, I forgot about it. I didn't have time to look at it. No, we ain't doing that. My time is valuable. Your time is valuable. So I'm going to ask, when do you think you'll get around to taking a look at the information I share with you? Okay, they may say tomorrow. They may say 2 days from now. They may say in the evening. They may say tomorrow morning. Whatever they say fantastic, great. Would you be terribly upset if I followed up with you then to make sure we answer any questions you might have, right? Or would you be terribly upset if I forward the information to you, you take a look at it then, and I stop by with Jimmy John's and coffee to have a quick 10, 15-minute chat about it, right? That's what I'm doing. That's the purpose, that's the goal. Develop a report, to schedule a time where I can actually give the presentation. Now, on rare occasions, you are going to have that business owner. This is rare, because you're popping in on a business owner, and if you're doing this unexpectedly, remember, you're infringing upon their time. But this does rarely happen, where a business owner will say, no, I want to learn more now. Can you tell me more now? That's interesting. Tell me more now. Hey, I got 10, 15 minutes. Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out my phone. I'm going to tap the app, right? Our services app. And I'm going to go through the app with them. Now, you got to know inside of the vehicle or inside of a folder that I have inside the vehicle, I may have a brochure. I may have a flat sheet. I may have some other marketing collateral that I can leave with them. But I'm using the app, right? So I'm able to demonstrate how it's being used. And also, because I use the app, I can also point to things that I've utilized the app for, so they can see high utilization. They can actually see how it works, right? So I'm hitting that request console button. I'm allowing them to go through the different subject matters and topics and issues. I'm sharing with them how they can submit documents. I'm sharing with them how they can schedule the appointment, right? I'm making it as real as possible for them. because a business owner doesn't so much care how much the sausage is made, how the sausage is made. They just want the sausage. I'm showing them how to get the sausage, right? And oftentimes, when business owners are willing to take that kind of time to learn and actually go through that process with you, more than likely, they may be willing to enroll right then and there. So be ready for that, right? I may ask a business owner after we've gone through the app together, they're giving me the good buying signs, this makes sense, it's exciting, right? They'll ask, how much is it? I say, look, we provide all these resources for literally about $2 to $3 a day. How does that sound? And they're on some, that's it. How soon could I get this? When is it? If I enroll, how soon can I start utilizing the plan, right? They're going to start asking these questions. And then I may turn around and ask, well, is there any reason why you wouldn't enroll today? If the answer is yes, I'm prepared, I'm ready. I have my iPad or I'm rolling right there on my phone. It happens. Or the person may say, look, I don't have time at this moment to enroll. Can you leave me something? And I'll say, fine, I'll leave this with you. How soon should I get around to following up with you and scheduling, right? I'm going back to scheduling the appointment again. And if you've gone through that process with a business owner, at that point, they're going to go ahead and enroll. Schedule the follow-up, schedule the enrollment, bring the Jimmy John's, bring the Subway, bring the coffee, whatever the case may be. Be prepared to answer a couple of those questions they may have, and then go through the enrollment process, right? And so that's kind of the language that I use. And I don't want you to get caught up so much in the specific words or the diction. Just understand the intentionality behind it, right? My goal is to shake a person's hand unless, they're giving those vibes. That's not what they do. I'm going to let them know, look, my name's Juwan. I'm with PPLSI Legal Shield. We're 50 plus, we're a 70-year-old company that has been highly effective at working with business owners like you, right? We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with small business owners. Whether you earn $20,000 a year or you're $20,000 an hour, it doesn't matter to us. And we're highly effective at helping business owners make better legal, business, financial decisions. I'd love the opportunity at some point to share information with you, because I'm not here to sell you anything today. You don't have to worry about that. Once again, let me apologize for not getting to you sooner. I'm your neighborhood representative, or I'm your regional representative, right? And I'm just simply here to make sure that you are aware that we're here to be of service to you and help you any way that we can. I'd love the opportunity at some point to schedule a follow to learn more about what's most important to you, right? What's most important to you? What are you looking to accomplish, right? And I thank you for your time. Here's my business card. Do you have a card? And if they start saying, can you send me some information? I love it. B's knees, right? I can get their cell phone number right then and there. I can get their email, and now we're cooking with gas, and I'm scheduling the follow-up appointment. If they ask me for information, I'm more than willing to part the information. But I'm still gonna go back to, hey, when I share this information with you, how soon can you get around taking a look at it? Great. Hey, how about I follow you then? Subway, Jimmy John's, coffee, whatever the case may be, or give you a phone call. How does that sound? But I want to schedule a time to follow up, because business owners are busy. And if you don't get in their calendar, they're going to forget about you. It's not personal. It just is what it is, right? And then I'm looking to schedule that appointment. And you notice, when I shared the script again, some of the approach or the words I used were in a different order, right? If I'm dealing with a business owner and I hit the door, and I can tell right away they're agitated or right away they're busy, I'll say it right from the get-go. Hey, I'm not here to sell anything. You don't have to worry about that. I know you're busy. I can see that clear as day. My name is Juwan. I'm with PPLSI Legal Shield. We're a 70-plus-year-old company, highly effective at helping business owners make better business, financial, legal decisions. Look, I know you're busy, and I apologize for not getting around to you sooner. I'm your neighborhood representative. I'm your regional representative. Just want to make sure that you know we exist, that we're here for you. I would love at some point in time to follow up, find out what matters most to you, what's most important to you. And if I can be of service, fantastic, great. Here's my business card, right? Or maybe that little small handout, whatever the case may be. And I get their information and I'm up and out of there, right? Because I want the person to know and trust me. I want them to have a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. So when I follow up, because I am going to ask, even if they're busy, when will be a good time to follow up, typically morning or afternoon, right? They say morning, 8, 9, or 10. They say afternoon, 1, 3, or 5, right? The goal is to follow up. Now, if they open the door to allow me to step in further, definitely I'm prepared to take advantage of that. But that's typically the goal. That's the approach that I use. So hopefully this is of service to you. Hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully I give you a little bit of language you can use to develop those relationships in your community and work with small business owners who desperately need what it is we provide. Celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.